PLA says live fire training is finished. 22 PLA warplanes crossed the median line. China cannot prevent world leaders from traveling to Taiwan. G7 warns China's escalatory response to Pelosi visit. ASEAN urges US and China to avoid provocation. Milk Tea Alliance clashes against Little Pinks over Pelosi. Zelenskiy seeking direct talks with China's Xi over the war. Ukraine says Russian ceasefire and troop pullout must precede any talks.
Hello, I'm Johnny. Thank you for joining us on FUNDAY News. It's Friday, August 5th, and here are your top stories. According to a tweet on an official Twitter account of the People's Daily of China posted on August 4th at 3:45 p.m., relevant sea and airspace control off the eastern coast of Taiwan Island has been lifted since the live-fire missile drills have hit the targets precisely, said Senior Colonel Shi, spokesperson for the PLA Eastern Theater Command, on Thursday. The statement didn't clarify whether that meant all military exercises had ended in 6 exclusion zones surrounding the island, which began at noon on Thursday and were set to last for 72 hours.
Taiwan's foreign ministry accused the Chinese authorities of trying to change the status quo in the region. No country can use the visit of a foreign official as a pretext for provocations.
Bloomberg reported that at a regular briefing on Thursday, Chinese Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Hua Chunying said she didn't have information on whether all the drills had ended, and referred reporters back to the original August 4th to 7th timeframe. According to Taiwan's defense ministry, the People's Liberation Army fired 11 Dongfeng ballistic missiles into waters north, east, and south of Taiwan between 1:56 p.m. and 4 p.m. local time Thursday, and confirmed that all of the missiles had been fired from land.
According to Taiwan's defense ministry, 27 Chinese aircraft broke into Taiwan's air defense zone on Wednesday, and 22 of them crossed the median line separating the island from China. Taiwan's Air Force fighter jets scrambled to warn away Chinese intruders. The defense ministry said that some of China's planned military exercises were to take place within Taiwan's 12 nautical miles sea and air territory in order to stimulate a sea and air blockade of Taiwan.
重要军事演训行动进行，并组织实弹射击。此次实弹演训选择环岛6大区域。
Taiwan's defense ministry said on Wednesday that Chinese military drills have violated United Nations rules, invaded Taiwan's territorial space, and amounted to a blockade of its air and sea. Taiwan's defense ministry said the island will firmly defend its security, counter any move that violates territorial sovereignty, and enhance its alertness levels with the principle of not asking for war. Taiwan's defense ministry warned that if China continues to launch psychological warfare on Taiwan, citizens should not believe rumors and fake news.
U.S. House of Representatives Speaker Nancy Pelosi concluded a historical visit to Taiwan on Wednesday. According to Pelosi, her visit proved that China cannot prevent world leaders from traveling to Taiwan. Pelosi complained that, sadly, Taiwan has been prevented from participating in global meetings, most recently the World Health Organization, because of objections by the Chinese Communist Party. Pelosi then cited recent efforts by Taiwan and allies to help Taiwan participate in the 2022 World Health Assembly.
Not stand in the way of people coming to Taiwan. It's a show of friendship, of support, but also a source of learning about how we can work together better in collaboration.
Before leaving for the next country scheduled for her Asia trip, which included Japan and South Korea, Pelosi criticized China and encouraged world leaders by saying, while they may prevent Taiwan from sending its leaders to global forums, they cannot prevent world leaders or anyone from traveling to Taiwan to pay respects to its flourishing democracy, to highlight its many successes, and to reaffirm our commitment to continued collaboration.
In a foreign minister-level statement titled Preserving Peace and Stability Across the Taiwan Strait, the group of 7 countries and EU reaffirmed their commitment to maintaining the rules-based international order, peace, and stability across the Taiwan Strait and beyond. On Wednesday, the G7 and EU urged all parties to remain calm, exercise restraint, act with transparency, and maintain open lines of communication to prevent misunderstanding.
Here, there is no justification to use a visit as a pretext for aggressive military activity in the Taiwan Strait, and China's escalatory response risks increasing tensions and destabilizing the region.
The G7 countries include the United States, United Kingdom, Canada, Germany, Italy, France, and Japan. The statement was also signed by the High Representative of the EU on behalf of its 27 European countries. In the statement, all of these countries warn that there is no justification to use a visit as a pretext for aggressive military activity in the Taiwan Strait. It is normal and routine for legislators from our countries to travel internationally. The PRC's escalatory response risks increasing tensions and destabilizing the region.
The Association of Southeast Asian Nations, also known as ASEAN, is calling for calm in the Taiwan Strait, urging against any provocative action in the wake of a visit to Taipei by the U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. The 10-nation group's foreign ministers meeting in Phnom Penh, Cambodia, said Thursday that they were concerned the situation could destabilize the region and eventually could lead to miscalculation, serious confrontation, open conflict, and unpredictable consequences among major powers.
The media reported that both U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken and Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi were taking part in the ongoing ASEAN meetings in Phnom Penh on Thursday and Friday. The 10 nations coming to a common statement is seen as rare, as some of whose members drift more towards China in allegiance and some towards the United States. Stocks in Asian markets mostly rose on Thursday as investors welcomed encouraging economic data and quarterly earnings reports from big companies.
U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's meeting with Taiwan's President Tsai Ing-wen in Taipei has triggered a social media clash of words between Thai members of the pro-democracy Milk Tea Alliance and Chinese nationalists on Wednesday. South China Morning Post reported that while Pelosi's trip set off U.S.-China diplomatic fireworks, Milk Tea Alliance members in Thailand shrugged off Beijing's warnings and engaged in an online duel with Chinese nationalists.
The Milk Tea Alliance is a social media-driven, pro-democracy youth movement in Thailand, Hong Kong, and Taiwan. The name was coined because of their shared passion for the sweet drink. The report said the social media feud escalated after the Chinese embassy in Bangkok called on the Thai government to support China. The Milk Tea Alliance hit back, targeting Thai Premier Prayuth Chan-o-cha's China-friendly stance, and criticized Beijing's dam-building spree on the Mekong River and its negative impact on the environment. Little Pinks, however, criticized American capitalism.
In an interview with Hong Kong-based South China Morning Post, owned by Alibaba Group, Ukraine's President Zelensky said that Ukraine is seeking an opportunity to speak directly with China about its ongoing war with Russia. Zelensky said it's a very powerful state, it's a powerful economy, so it can politically and economically influence Russia. And China is also a permanent member of the UN Security Council. He said, "I would like to talk directly. I had one conversation with President Xi Jinping that was a year ago."
According to the report, Zelensky said, "I'm confident. I'm sure that without the Chinese market for the Russian Federation, Russia would be feeling complete economic isolation." Zelensky went on to say, "That's something that China can do, to limit the trade with Russia until the war is over." Zelensky made clear that he believed China had the economic levers to pressure Putin to end the war. Zelensky also urged China to use its UN Security Council status to show countries that they needed to comply with international norms.
On Wednesday, Ukraine dismissed comments by former German Chancellor Gerhard Schröder that Russia wanted a negotiated solution to the war and said any dialogue would be contingent on a Russian ceasefire and withdrawal of its troops. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said on Wednesday, "It is simply disgusting when former leaders of major states with European values work for Russia, which is at war against these values."
Schroeder, a friend of Russian President Vladimir Putin, said on Wednesday that last month's agreement on grain shipments from Ukraine aimed at easing a global food crisis and might offer a way forward. He said that Russia wants a negotiated solution to the war in Ukraine. Schroeder told Stern Weekly and broadcasters at RTL TV that he had met Putin in Moscow last week. He said, "The good news is that the Kremlin wants a negotiated solution."
And that's all the time we have for today. Thank you for joining us on FUNDAY News. Let's make every day a fun day. I'm Johnny Wu, your host. I will see you next time.